You sit in the car after work. Engine off, phone in your hand. You open the banking app out of habit. The numbers look fine. But fine is not what you wanted at this age. You thought 30-something would feel different. More solid, more built, more yours. Instead, it feels like running on a treadmill made of bills. And the decade is slipping by quietly. That is what nobody warns you about. Between 30 and 40, most men do not actually build wealth. They build the illusion of it. The paycheck grows, the lifestyle grows faster, and the gap stays exactly the same. It is the strangest kind of poverty. You earn more every year and somehow feel the same pressure every month. You are running harder on a track that keeps tilting upward. Nobody hands you a manual for this decade. You inherit it from the men around you. Your father did it one way. Your boss does it another. You quietly stitch together a third version and call it adulthood. You think you are getting ahead because last year you made less, but the savings rate, the actual percentage going to your future, often stays flat or even shrinks. This is the decade where compounding is supposed to do its heaviest lifting. A dollar invested at 32 does work a dollar at 45 cannot replicate. And yet this is also the decade most loaded with expensive life events. Weddings, kids, first homes, second cars, parents starting to need help. So the years that should be your engine room quietly become your spending room. You feel busy, you feel responsible, you feel tired, but you do not feel wealthier. The trap has a name, even if nobody says it out loud. It is the silent repricing of your life every time your income goes up. A promotion lands, and within 90 days, your fixed costs have absorbed most of it. A new lease, a nicer neighborhood, a slightly bigger plan for everything. The raise was real. The wealth from the raise was not. That money was spoken for before it ever hit your account. This is lifestyle inflation, and in your 30s it is more dangerous than in any other decade, because it disguises itself as adulthood. You tell yourself you are not splurging. You are just living like a professional now, like a husband, like a father, like a man at this stage. And every one of those upgrades feels reasonable on its own. The danger is not any single choice. It is the pattern of every choice trending one direction. Meanwhile, the part of you that should be quietly accumulating, investing, repeating, is sitting on the sidelines, not because you are reckless, because you are distracted. You are buried in calendars, deadlines, diapers, in-laws, project deadlines, and oil changes. Long-term thinking gets pushed to a someday that keeps moving. Here is the part almost nobody talks about. Real wealth in this decade is not built by earning more. It is built by widening the gap. The gap between what you bring in and what your life actually costs. That gap is the only raw material wealth is ever made from. A man earning $200,000 with a $190,000 lifestyle is poorer than a man earning $90,000 with a $60,000 life. The first man owns nothing of his own time. Every month is a performance funded by next month. The second man owns choices, and choices are what wealth actually feels like. You may already sense this. You may have looked at a colleague who earns far more than you and quietly wondered why he always seems stressed about money. That is the answer. He is not poor. He is leveraged to his own image, and the image is expensive to maintain. Now think about the average 35-year-old. Retirement balances in this age range often sit somewhere between $30,000 and $70,000, not because people are lazy, because life has been louder than the future. And the math at 35 is unforgiving. To retire comfortably, most people in this bracket need to be putting away meaningful 5-figure amounts every single year. Most are not even close. You probably know this on some level. You probably do the rough math late at night and feel that quiet, hollow drop in your chest. That drop is information. Listen to it. Because here is the next layer. Most men in their 30s confuse activity with progress. Switching jobs, refinancing, reading another book, opening another account. Movement feels like momentum, but moving sideways at high speed is not the same as moving forward, and your 30s reward direction far more than effort. The man who picks one boring low-cost automated approach and runs it for 10 years almost always outperforms the man who keeps optimizing and tinkering. Not because he is smarter, because he removed himself from the equation. He let time do what time does when you stop interrupting it. Let me pause here for a moment, because this one matters more than the rest of the script. I want you to actually think about it, not just watch it. Where are you right now in this decade? Are you 29 and bracing for it, 36 and feeling the squeeze, 41 and looking back? Drop a comment and tell me where you stand, and the one financial decision in this decade that you wish you had made earlier or differently. Your honesty here matters because somebody 5 years behind you is reading these comments. He is trying to figure out what to do. Your sentence might save him a decade of drift. Now back to it, because there is a deeper layer most men miss completely. And it is not about money at all. It is about identity. Between 30 and 40, you are not just earning, you are becoming. You are deciding, often unconsciously, what kind of man you are going to be financially for the rest of your life. The habits you set now harden. The way you handle a bonus at 34 is usually the way you will handle a bonus at 54. Same nervous system. Bigger numbers. If you spend every raise now, you will spend every raise later. If you avoid your statements now, you will avoid them when the stakes are higher. The pattern is the man. This is why advice like just save more rarely lands. It is not a math problem. It is a self problem. You are not failing to save. You are succeeding at being who you have always been. So the real work in this decade is not just opening accounts. It is becoming the kind of man whose default behavior makes him wealthy without trying. That sounds abstract, so let me make it concrete. The healthy version of this decade looks almost boring from the outside. Income goes up. Lifestyle stays mostly flat. The difference is automatically routed to investments before you ever see it. You barely think about it. You let it run. The trap version looks exciting. New car every 4 years. Bigger house every promotion, constant upgrades, and a quiet ache at night you cannot explain. Both men work hard. Both men love their families. Both men feel like they are doing the right thing. Only one of them will actually be free at 55. And here's the advanced nuance almost nobody gets right. Wealth in your 30s is not really about returns. It is about consistency under emotional pressure. The market will drop. Your industry will scare you. A friend will get rich on something you missed. A relative will need money. A marriage will be tested. The men who build real wealth in this window are not the ones who pick the best investments. They are the ones who keep contributing when every part of them wants to stop. That is the unsexy truth. The decade is won by people who are slightly boring on purpose, who treat their plan like a thermostat, not a thermometer. You might be thinking, fine, but I started late. I am already 37, 39, 41. Is the window closed? It is not, but it is narrowing, and the cost of waiting another year now is dramatically higher than it was at 25. Each delayed year removes a disproportionate amount of future ease. That is not meant to scare you. It is meant to focus you. Late starters who get serious in this decade still routinely build solid, dignified retirements. They just cannot afford another year of drift. So what does serious actually look like at this stage? It looks like knowing your real monthly burn to the dollar, not guessing, knowing. It looks like every income increase being split before you feel it. A portion to lifestyle, yes, but a larger portion locked away on autopilot. It looks like a refusal to compete with peers whose balance sheets you have never seen. Most of the lifestyles you envy are quietly funded by stress and debt. It looks like protecting the boring engine, the steady contribution, the unsexy index, the slow-growing emergency fund, the marriage conversation about money you keep avoiding. And it looks like understanding that in this decade, what you do not buy matters more than what you do. Every car not upgraded. Every house not stretched into, every trip not financed, those are wealth too. There is a kind of quiet pride that comes from this, not the loud pride of showing off, the deeper pride of knowing you are not performing your life for an audience. You start to feel something most of your peers will not feel until much later. A sense of ground underneath you. A sense that your future is not a stranger you are afraid to meet. That feeling is what this decade is really for. Not the boat, not the badge on the car, not the renovation that doubles in cost. The feeling. And once you have it, you stop needing the other things to feel like a man. That is when the trap finally lets you go. So look at your life honestly for a minute. Look at the last 3 years. Where did your raises actually go? What does your account actually show? Where did the time go? No guilt, just data. The numbers are not a verdict on you. They are a starting line, and starting lines only matter to people willing to run from them. If this video helped you see your decade more clearly, do me a small favor and hit the like button. It genuinely helps this channel reach other men who need to hear it. Subscribe and turn on the bell if you want more of these breakdowns, the kind that treat you like an adult instead of a beginner. And in the comments, tell me which part landed hardest: the lifestyle creep, the identity piece, the late start fear, whichever line made you stop scrolling. Thank you for being here and for doing the inner work most men avoid their whole lives. Sitting with your money instead of running from it is not small, it is everything. In the next video, we are going inside the years right after this one, the 40s, the decade where every quiet choice you made in your 30s either pays you back or sends you the bill. Because what you do between 30 and 40 does not stay in that decade. It walks with you in silence into the next one. That next decade is where the quiet choices grow loud, where the small habits become large outcomes, where the man you have been becomes the man you are. So stay close, keep watching, keep doing the unglamorous work nobody claps for, because the version of you waiting at 50 is built right here, right now. And when you meet him, you want him to thank you, not blame you. That is the real wealth this decade is asking you to build. I will see you in the next one. Bring your honesty. Bring your numbers. Bring the part of yourself that is finally ready to stop drifting.